the beginning of the new year. Ian Murdock is, of course, best known as the founder of Debian, as the father of Debian. And for those who don't know, Ian is the Ian in Debian. And in the name, we will always honor Ian. I think one of the things I'm thinking about what to say, one of the things that I just had to think about is how much Debian and Ian's work has influenced our lives. I mean, I can see a lot of people in here who have been involved in Debian, and I know many of you are Debian users. And even though I wasn't involved in the Debian project when it was started, when I think about it, Debian has in some way or another shaped half of my life. Now, my life would be quite different without Debian. So this tweet is something that really resonates with me. And maybe, things wouldn't be quite as bleak. But I think everyone here can agree that Debian, that Ian Murdock, really had a big impact on our lives in so many different ways. And there are a lot of good things to say about Ian. I think I'm going to highlight three. The first one is that Ian really had a foresight about creating a project based on community. So I have a number of quotes from Ian that really show, what he was thinking. And a lot of those things are very hard to understand now because they seem so obvious. But you have to see it in historical context. Back then, a Linux distribution was quite a new thing, and it was done, by a few people. And Ian really said, we want to do it in an open way. We want to do it in a way that the community, the people, different people are involved. And I think that really shows a lot of foresight. I really like these quotes. So that was 10 years after Ian started Debian, and he said that the biggest contribution, it's not the software, but it's really about how the software is created. That when he started the project, with community built in. That was always the idea. But he sent out to do it that way intentionally. It wasn't, I'm going to start a project, and suddenly it became a success, and all those people came. He actually, designed the project in a way to allow for that. And I particularly like the quote at the bottom, where he says, if you remove community from open source or free software, it's just software. And I think that's so true for Debian. I mean, when I think about Debian, all the distros, at the end of the day, it's all the same stuff. You take a Linux kernel, you take some other stuff, you throw it together. Sure, there are technical differences, but what's so unique about Debian is the way it's developed, the processes we have in place, and the social contract, and the philosophy behind it. And if you remove all of those things from Debian, it would just be bits of software, but it wouldn't be Debian. And I think that's remarkable, that Ian created such a thing. And later on, Ian tried to bring, that community idea to Solaris. And I don't know details, but I would imagine that it's much harder to add community later on, instead of having it built in. And it's interesting when people think about Debian, what Debian, the innovation that Debian brought. A lot of people think about the packaging system, and it's true. I mean, just imagine, the old days where you would just unpack tarpals, you wouldn't know which files belonged where or to which packages. You couldn't upgrade stuff independently, so the packaging system was a true innovation. But again, Ian sees things in a very different way. So he says, it's not about technical stuff. It's all about collaboration. The packaging system, what that allows is to have experts who each maintain their components and to integrate that into one system. And I think that's a really innovative idea of how to structure things. And when I think about Debian, I don't think about a CD-ROM. When I think about Debian, I think about community. That's really what defines Debian, thanks to Ian. And Brandon Robinson, a former Debian project leader who worked for Ian for many years, I think he also said it very well. It's about individual empowerment in a social environment. So he said it's about taking responsibility while sharing responsibility. I think that's that sums it up very well. And that's all thanks to Ian's foresight. I think the second thing I want to highlight is just the sheer humility that Ian showed. A lot of leaders these days are, leaders for life. Leaders who say, I make the decisions. I know what's best. But if you read this text, and just